Hey everybody, welcome back to Keto and Crime. It didn't take me as long as I thought to get through the day 11 or yesterday, Tuesday, April 18th testimony. So we're going to jump back in. We convened with Zulema back on the stand for further cross-examination by defense attorney John Thomas. We are aware that the Woodcocks and Annie Cushing, Lori Vallow's former sister-in-law, are in the courtroom. And the first order of business after the jury is back in and Zulema back on the stand is for John Thomas to confirm she had not spoken with anybody from the prosecution over the weekend. She confirmed that. She has an attorney who is not licensed in Idaho, is only licensed in Arizona, also sitting in the courtroom. So John Thomas proceeded questioning her about her relationship with Alex Cox, and she said that they officially began sort of seeing each other in fall of 2019 when they shared their first kiss. They had had some dinners together, and that Alex made it very well known that he wanted a long-term relationship, and she said she wanted the same thing. He proposed to her on November 7th, 2019, so this is quite quick. Still no mention of any coaching or counseling she was given to him. According to Zulema, the main point of contention was that Alex wanted to move to Rexburg to live with Chad and Lori, or and Melanie in that area. He was already living there. He wanted her to move there. She told him her life was in Arizona and she was not going to move to Idaho. And according to Zulema, Alex's thing was, I need to ask Chad what to do. She said she exchanged some text messages with Chad in which Chad tried to convince her to move to Idaho, but she basically told him no. He finally said he understood, but maybe it'll happen one day. So you kind of see how this is shaping up to definitely be a cult type situation with them trying to control every part of personal life. And they were still trying to figure out what to do. She would go see him in Idaho and he would come to Arizona to see him. And then we jumped to the day that Alex died. She said she had gotten up to leave to go to work on December 12th. Alex was fine. And then he came back. He was lying on the floor of the bathroom dead. Of course, we heard the 911 call of her son calling 911, and I will link that up here as well. The bulk of the cross-exam was basically the defense trying to kind of counter what Zulema had said under direct testimony with the prosecution that, this wasn't a cult. There was no conspiracy. So he was asking her a lot about the blessings and about Paulus and Garrett, the spirits within Charles and all this stuff. And after he finally finished, the prosecution did do some redirect and basically reaffirmed all the weirdness that we're already aware was going on. And then Zulema was dismissed and left the courtroom at that point with her attorney. This is about 10 a.m. Idaho time. And Colby Ryan, Lori Vallow's son, is called to the stand for the prosecution. He is asked how he knows Lori Vallow. It's my mother. Of course, we all know it was the Netflix documentary, docuseries was pretty much geared in on Colby and his wife. They asked him some questions about Lori's demeanor on the day that Charles died, and he said that his mother was rather calm, that Tylee was a little more upset. Of course, JJ was upset. And then they skip forward to where he confesses that Lori told him that she was not receiving any life insurance because Charles had changed the life insurance beneficiary, and said that Lori was scared that they were not going to have enough money to meet their monthly expenses. And then they fast forward to September 8th, 2019, which is the last record we have of Tylee being alive. And it was Colby had asked Tylee for some money, and Tylee told him that she was no longer in charge of her money, that Lori was. This is the Social Security benefits that she got from her deceased father. Of course, now JJ was going to be getting Social Security from Charles as well. And so evidently, Lori was controlling their money. But eventually, I think Lori did wire some money, hence the Venmo cash out conversation text of that same evening. And then he said he would continue to get loans and gifts from his mother from 2 different accounts registered to Lori Vallow. He said that Lori was pretty open with the fact she was going to get married again after Charles died, and was pretty open that she wasn't really concerned that Charles was dead. Prosecution then finishes up, and after a brief recess, where evidently from the tone, there was a stare down between Lori and Colby when all the breaking was going on, and then defense attorney Archibald started the cross-examination of Colby, basically asking him about his childhood, who his biological father was. And of course, he confessed that Lori's first husband, William Lagola, was, but that he was raised by Joseph Ryan and then by Charles Vallow, mainly by Joseph Ryan, and how that whole relationship fell apart. Basically, Archibald hinted in on the alleged abuse suffered at the hands of Joseph Ryan, and asked if Lori ever protected him from Joe, and he said yes, and that the divorce was, the reason to protect her children from Joe. Now, I'm not victim shaming or abuse shaming or anything there. I say alleged because lots of things that Lori contends are still alleged, so that's the reason I'm saying that. I'm just kind of putting that forth. So Archibald's putting up this picture of Lori as the protective mother, and I'm sure before she went down to Craytown, she was. He also asked Colby about their religious life and their church life, and he basically painted Lori as a Sunday school teacher. This fine, upstanding Christian woman that was taught at churches and wanted Colby to go to church. So, yeah. And then the defense dismisses Colby. The prosecution asks for a chance to redirect, but asks for a 5-minute recess. So after the recess, basically the prosecution continues with a redirect, much like they did with Zulema, and basically wanted to ask Colby if Lori had ever asked him for anything since he moved out of her house. He said the only thing that she ever asked him for was help moving. And the prosecution asked if Lori controlled his bank account. He says no. And that she did give him Tylee's debit card so he could buy himself a birthday gift. Very strange the way the finances are, but I think we all know why. So basically, he continues to reaffirm everything about the strange cult behavior. Of course, we get into the famous phone call that we saw in the documentary, the docuseries on Netflix, where basically Colby is accusing his mother of ending the lives of Tylee and JJ, and wanted her to say, "Tell me right now you didn't kill my little brother and sister." And they listened to that phone call. You can definitely find that phone call on YouTube. It's very dark, and I don't want to listen to it. Then Colby is dismissed. He leaves the courtroom. There's the lunch break. After lunch, they come back where the prosecution calls Mark Sari, who is a special agent investigator with Social Security Administration, and basically ask him about the shenanigans revolving around Lori's Social Security charges. Basically, he brings up all the documentation of lots of bank accounts, lots of switching around for both these children's monies, but he did confirm that JJ received almost $2,000 a month, $1,951 a month from Charles' death, and that Tylee's was receiving about $1,800 from Joseph Ryan, and then just a whole lot of shenanigans, how they suspended payments after both children went missing, and then he brings, and then just some general paper shuffling like that. There wasn't much brought out on cross-exam. After he steps down, they bring up Detective Chuck Casatis from Rexburg PD, and this is where they get into all the count switching around. He brings up a PowerPoint with at least 10 accounts on it that Lori's or the children's money had been transferred to back and forth. There was a Southwest joint account, a First Hawaiian Bank account, a Barclays account, a BBVA account, 3 JP Morgan accounts. Just all the ways that Lori would continuously change her banking and then email or call Social Security to get the money moved around. So very, very secretive and shuffly about the money. And then he is cross-examined, and then there's a redirect where they continue to delve into financial. They show money leaving Lori's accounts, going to Alex, back to Daybell. So there's a whole lot of digging into everyone's financials to show how large sums of money were moved around, and bank accounts did not last that long. And then after that, he is dismissed, and court is dismissed for the day. They did pick up at around 8:30 this morning, Idaho time. So as soon as those recordings are available, I will bring them to you. I really appreciate everybody hanging in with me, and I will continue to bring you concise summaries of this case as I can. And until next time, keto and crime.